And 3, 2.
Two? Yeah, there you go. We welcome you back to our coaches interviews in concert with Texas Girls Coach Association. I'm Chuck Licata. This is Max. And Max, for the third time in 4 years and 3 interviews in a row with Lauryn Bailey of Ridgepoint, Max has been here because he wants to hear what Lauryn Bailey has to say. How are you?
I'm just happy someone wants to listen to me, even if it's Max.
It's funny. I mentioned 3 times in 4 years. Great correlation because Ridgepoint's been to state 3 times in 4 years.
Yeah, it was certainly, it has certainly been a really, really fun ride. I wish for me, it's two out of the 3 years I've been to Ridgepoint. They went in 2018 with Coach McLaughlin and have kind of had a dynasty, ever since. So, she started something really special, and Ridgepoint has just been full of talent ever since. And so it's been a fun ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you ever, and God knows why you would, if you ever decide to leave Ridgepoint, I think the line of coaches that would love to take over is probably stretched from where you're at to myself, and I'm 25 miles southwest of Fort Worth. I think that's how long the line would be of coaches that would love to take over.
Yeah, I mean, and they would be taking over some great kids. Like, usually you have the kids that are full of talent and don't care about what you have to say. You have those kids. You have kids that are super coachable and like just want to work and just want to compete. But at Ridgepoint, you get both. Like, we have talent that is just insane. Some of the best players in the state, 2 of the best teams in the state since I've been a part of the school. And the kids are just great. I mean, they're just really great kids. And so, yeah, I don't know if I'll leave. I would have to have something super sweet come my way to give this gig up. But, hopefully this program is just in really good hands.
Well,
for as long as, yeah.
People hear 3 times out of 4 to state. And of course, there was COVID in there and there was other situations. But I want people to understand, and I'll let you explain the extent if you want to, but it has not been an easy ride. It hasn't been like you've shown up for day 1 of varsity season. And it's like, oh yeah, everybody's on the same page. We all love each other. Yay, let's go. And there's a whole lot of stuff that happens. And every coach we talk to, it's the same situation. It's never a team that gets to state has had no issues because they have.
Yeah. I mean, my first year, I came from college, came from Prairie View. Ridgepoint's my first high school job ever. I came from a D2 college in Mississippi and then Prairie View. So I came to Ridgepoint and I had to prove myself to the girls. I had to buy into them just as much as they had to buy into me. And we had a really fun ride along the way. I think we only lost 6 games that first year. Including the state semifinal. But so we get to state and our starting setter goes down in warmups, and that right there was probably our first, if I'm remembering correctly, probably our first what am I trying to think of? Our first obstacle we had to cross.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much sail through that season, and then we get there to the big show and our starting setter goes down. And not that our backup couldn't do it, but it's just when adversity is thrown at you and you're dealing with teenagers. My first years as a high school coach in that type of setting, I mean, yeah, so that was difficult. And then, as you said, COVID, my second year last year, that kind of threw everybody in for a mental state loop, a physical state loop. The girls weren't working out. It was hard to kind of keep everybody entwined as we would during preseason and all that. And And then our season got cut short. You know, we weren't able to do any preseason tournaments. We kind of were just thrown into the trenches with district play, no team bonding, none of that. So, you know, that was difficult. And then we were able to pick it up this year. And I would say our biggest obstacle, but where we grew the most, was the preseason tournament we were able to go to. And we went like 2-6. I mean, we won 2 games, I think, that first day. I'm maybe butchering this, but
No,
we lost.
Let me help you out, because I was there for that. Unfortunately, I brought in a losing streak. You actually at one point lost 7 of 8 in one stretch. And I was there for, unfortunately, for most of that. That was my fault. So, you know, but
no,
yeah,
the girls were like, whoa, tough. This is what talent is. Like, they were like, whoa, okay. But we grew the most in the sense of like, they had to figure out that was not what they liked. From what I hear, I wasn't a part of it, but from what I hear, they really team bonded at the hotel that weekend, got everybody into a room and was like, this is what we're doing. So it was really good. So, you know, sometimes that losing can bring out the parts in you that you didn't know you needed. And so anyways, definitely have had some challenges throughout the time, but man, it has been such a fun ride. I love these girls so much. So I'm grateful for sure.
Well, I know the community loves you. We've talked about it many times. And by the way, after that streak, after you left my presence, it was, I think 2 weeks later, y'all started a 20 match win streak. Went 14-0 in district, and then of course made the playoffs, and unfortunately lost to Keller in the state semifinal. But again, it, you know, kind of what's become expected at Ridgepoint.
Yeah, and you know, I like expectations because it means that people hold you to a certain standard. And I appreciate that. But I also try to not put that type of pressure on the girls. I want to take it in all myself. I just want them to play. They have so many pressures outside of winning and keeping the dynasty alive. And, you know, their parents give them pressure, signing by the time they're juniors, or verbally committing, and all of those things, and then outperforming their friends and their club teams. They put all these pressures on themselves. So try to just remember that this is supposed to be a fun time for them, and winning is just a icing on top of the cake. Yeah. So, you know, it's a combination of just trying to keep everybody in check, but have fun while you're doing it, you know?
So did they have fun last year?
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, we were lucky enough that, from what I know, we did not deal with any drama. My seniors were a direct like line of command from me, and they kept things on track. I mean, Nyla Raspberry, she was not letting anybody do anything that would get in the way of what we were trying to do. And I think that is a huge reason why we've been successful. We've always had senior classes who the players respected, the underclassmen respected. They wanted to listen to them because they wanted to, I mean, just out of respect, they wanted to not burn any bridges. The seniors always delivered messages in a respectful way, like, hey, I'm not better than you, but I'm going to make you better, if that makes sense. So Nyla and Nina and Alexis, all my seniors, I mean, they each brought something different, and I mean, it was a blast. It really was. I mean, up until the state semi game, I mean, we gave it everything we had. We had a couple of rough patches, you know, throughout that match itself. And, you know, we tried to get through it, but those girls were dogs. I mean, they literally battled until the very end. And so Yeah, I mean, I would say our roughest patch was that preseason tournament, but even that was such a huge learning experience. No drama, if you will, came from it. We went to Kalahari the day before the tournament started. We had a blast there. So, anyways, it was really fun for sure.
Well, and what's great is, and I know in your previous life before starting as coach, you've seen this and experienced it as well. You are now to that point where expectations are this high, but what's great is the great programs have, like you said, your seniors are now become an extension of the coach, and kind of like I've seen with Michael Kane at Tripping Springs, Gretchen Peterson at Liberty Hill when they were going to state on a regular basis at 3A and 4A. Your seniors now become the extension of the coach, and you and your coaching staff don't have to say it. It's the girls that are teaching the underclassmen, hey, this is what's expected in this program. This is the level of expectation in this program. And we need you to line up because going outside of what we're trying to do is not acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. And because my seniors have always kind of been an extension of me, that doesn't mean I haven't had underclassmen who weren't leaders as well in the past, you know. And so now that those underclassmen are seniors, such as, you know, Sydney Jordan, Arissa Smith, and my two liberos, two DSs, Ava and Josie, they've been leaders as well as underclassmen. They've just kind of, again, not overstepping, just do your job, do your role. And I got captains that we can all trust and leaders that we can all trust. So, but now that those girls are seniors, they understand that now it's your turn to lead in all aspects, like not just on the court. You don't need to just do your job now. Now you have to do your job and keep everybody else in line. And so, and they know that. And so, we've already had meetings and they have been coming to open gym, which I'm so thankful for. It's hard to get seniors specifically, any type of returning varsity team to come to open gym. But these four have been at almost every single one, despite playing at nationals or getting ready to go to nationals for club. They're just invested. And I feel like that is just, these seniors are also the group of girls I came in with. So we're kind of, we've been here for 4 years together. So we're kind of trying to play for each other and just kind of give each other a good, you know, successful season. So yeah, I think it's important to build those relationships to where your seniors know what I want from them. So that way they can keep the team in line when I don't see or hear what's going on.
Well, you just said that this year's seniors are your seniors. You know, you've been, this is your class of seniors. I'd hate to see you on senior night this year.
Yeah, my seniors this year, Nina and Nyla, they're like, I'll pay you to cry. I'll give you money if you cry that we're leaving. And I'm like, I just am not emotional. I'm sorry. It's hard to get me to like.
It'll be behind the scenes. You will.
Sydney and Arissa and Josie and Ava, I mean, they are the epitome. I mean, the definition of what a coach wants: athletic, mature, responsible. I mean, just all the things. And I wouldn't be able to, I'm not a good liar, so I wouldn't be able to say that if I didn't mean it. But they have just been, I mean, the true definition of, you know, varsity material players as freshmen, but had to work their way up, had to pay their time, had to work and just wait. And their time is finally here. So yeah. Yeah, we'll see how senior night goes, but they're special. They're a special group for sure. So we'll see.
Hey, so
I didn't cry this senior night, so I didn't get paid, but you know,
you're gonna
whatever.
cry.
They'll
on the record, whatever,
fine.
you're gonna cry.
Yeah.
Speaking of schedules, so what are we looking at for tournaments for the Lady Panthers this year?
Yeah, so we'll be going to the John Turner Classic, just as we do every year. We'll go to the Clear Creek ISD tournament. And then our big one that we're going to this year is the Dallas Byron Nelson and all of those top teams. We haven't been to that one yet. My first year we went to New Braunfels,
which is
the volley. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then COVID, we didn't do that one. And then this past year we went to Palooza. So we haven't been to Dallas yet. Honestly, we mostly had to go to this one because we got put in a 9-team district this year. So our first district game is like August 26th.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was a big curve that we all had to navigate through. And luckily they were able to get us in there on a last minute. I think somebody canceled last minute and we were able to slide in there. So I'm super excited about that because those are teams we wouldn't typically see, but they're always the competitive teams that usually make it to the end. So I think the girls they're not in for a rude awakening, but they're in for it, so it's going to be some exciting competition.
It'll be a good measuring stick for sure. And of course, you're talking about the NISD Classic, which I will be at and doing social media and then broadcasting the semifinals and finals. So that'd be a lot of fun.
Perfect. So we'll see you there.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we do better than 2 and 6. Right.
No losing streak this year.
If we go 2 and 6, I don't know. You may not see me again for a while.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
If that happens, I guess I won't be allowed to go to state, even though I will.
Yeah, no, you're canceled. I don't know. This will never happen again. We can't talk at tournaments. No.
Sorry, Max. No. They lose somehow. Okay.
It's not you, Max. It's not you.
Hey, speaking of 2020, I've been asking coaches. It's kind of like my favorite question this offseason. So in 2020, as you said, we didn't have pre-district. We just barely got districted, and it was different. The bad thing was you didn't have the 20 to 40 matches in before you started district that year. But the good news was, as we got to the regional tournaments in state, some of the coaches were saying, it's amazing because my girls don't have the nicks and cuts and bruises and the injuries that at this time I normally would have. So I've actually got a full roster again. And so my question is, what did we learn from that as far as, coaches and are we practicing what we learned from that? Or are we getting back to where it was before?
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. We honestly, knock on wood before I even say this, we haven't really gotten bit with the injury bug since I've been here. I mean, we have a couple of, like you said, nicks and bruises and things like that, but injuries that actually keep girls from playing, I haven't experienced that yet. So I would have enjoyed a full season. And so I think my biggest takeaway from that is just how important team bonding and team chemistry really is, because I mean, I loved all the girls. Those seniors also that went through, that was Tiana Davis, Carly Jackson, and Amina for me. Love them all, adore them, but we didn't know how to lead. And I think that the fact that we didn't have time together to do that really, I mean, we lost in the first round. We didn't have team chemistry at all. And so I think what we learned from that year was fake it till you make it. You guys are best friends, regardless of what you want to say or what you think. You are best friends, you are sisters, and you will hang out together. I'm like, you will figure it out. And so they did. And so, that means Nina and Nyla and them, they were juniors then. So their senior year, they were like, no, you're right. Like, we didn't get to hang out with, we weren't allowed to. So, I mean, they planned all sorts of things together. I mean, once, twice a week minimum. And they were able to build that team chemistry. And I say it all the time in open gyms now, because we lost that leadership. They were great leaders. And we talk about how, despite the talent, the whole reason in my opinion, that we got to state again was because of team chemistry. I mean, we truly did not have drama last year, which a lot of coaches cannot say. So yeah, I understand that we got to play a shorter schedule, and that is a great point as far as injuries go and all of that, but you also missed out on all of the team activities that we were typically able to do. So I would have loved to have that back.
Right.
So,
well, and the cat and to bandwagon on that too, a lot of coaches at the same time said a really bad thing is the fact that, you know, we're here in the playoffs and we've got 20, 30-ish games under our belt and we're hitting the playoffs. Whereas if we had the regular, you know, full season of preseason, we'd now be starting district and we've got so much playing time going into district, as opposed to we really still don't know our rotations and we're in the playoffs already.
Yeah. And like you just said, the preseason tournaments. I know, again, we've already talked about this. I know we went 2-6 at Palooza, but it was a humbling experience for us and it was a learning experience. And the girls had to figure it out, and they had to a lot of come to Jesus meetings and talk about that that's not what we wanted, which ties into the team chemistry portion that I had just, mentioned. So I definitely think the preseason is what really kicks you into gear, and all of that traveling and all of those hotel nights and those team dinners that we have, I mean, they play a huge role in the postseason. So yeah, I know COVID was a thing and all of that, but I definitely wish we could have that season back,
Yeah, no doubt. So let's talk about the team this year. Obviously, you mentioned the seniors. You mentioned what your schedule is going to be. What's the rest of the outlook for the Panthers?
Yeah. So yeah, Sid, Arissa, Josie, Ava, my 4 seniors. Then we have, I have 9 returners, which is pretty good.
Yeah. That means you're reloading and not rebuilding.
Right. So I have some key, the thing that we need to figure out is who's going to replace the leadership portion that the seniors brought on the court. And, 3 of those were setters. Kind of. Nina was she was at open gym today. She goes to Louisville on Saturday. And she came to open gym today, got one last session in, and she's like, I played every position in 2 years that I played for you. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you let me libero one game for fun. I don't remember the game, but she said it, so I guess it's true. But yeah, she set for us. She hits for club, and Louisville should be a DS. So anyways, she's not really a setter, but she set for us. But yeah, 3 of those were setters, 3 of those 6 seniors. So I don't have a returning setter. So that's been a really pretty big obstacle for us this spring that we had in open gyms and summer. So we have a couple girls who have been stepping up, talent-wise on the floor. So we're just trying to kind of figure out, again, team chemistry and who meshes the best with what we have. We're pretty stacked when it comes to our pins. We have Lauren Battle, Carrington Cook, Aaliyah Smith, who are all sophomores and upcoming juniors, and Kennedy Rogers, who was a freshman, who will also be a sophomore. So pins, we are good to go. Josie and Ava, libero DS, one of them, they're both amazing. So we'll just see. We're waiting for just kind of that spark when it comes to somebody running our offense. Mm-hmm. So looking at that, but that's why preseason is so important. Right. It is so important, because I truly cannot give you a lineup like at this time.
Right.
So once teams are made and we're able to travel everybody to these tournaments and kind of see what works the best, that's where we kind of find out what we're made of. So we're excited. But again, as we started this off, expectations for us aren't going to drop just because certain people graduate. They're going to remain the same, and it should be a fun amount of pressure to try and meet those expectations. And those are the people that we're trying to look for. So,
right. And Ridge Point volleyball community will expect you to get the state again.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the seniors too. The seniors too. I mean, they live by the motto of one game at a time. They do not let the hype or the talk get to them. They are never like, okay, yeah, back to state, ever. That's never been them. And Sid's been on varsity since she was a freshman. That's kind of been the mentality that she's brought to our team in general, one game at a time. And so even though that's the expectation that we kind of know is out there, Sid is really good at keeping everybody grounded and just focusing on one thing at a time.
Right.
And being successful at that, and then we move forward to the next thing. So she's a stepping stone for sure.
Right. Real quick, if you don't mind, will you show the folks your dogs, because it's everybody sees Maxx, but there's
Grammy.
Say hi. They are. Look at
there's
that.
Grim.
Cute.
Hi, Kona. Oh, big yawn there. They live a tough life,
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. They're not spoiled. No, not at all.
No. They get their own carpet. This is their room. Yeah, I'm in their room. I asked if I could use it for a minute, and they were fine.
Oh my God, too funny. And of course, I'll see you at the NISD Classic. And after day one, if you're 2-3 losses, I know that I'm gonna have to go to Jennifer at Northwest and say, I'm sorry, I've been evicted. I'm not allowed to stay here anymore. Yeah.
No, I think that's fair. It's definitely not us. It is something else. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sure Jennifer Chan will say, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, see you later. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we love to always blame something else, right? It's never our fault.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, if it's something that's just out of the norm, it's not there on a regular basis, that's the problem. Be it a person, a place, animal, whatever. Okay, if there's something out of the norm, that's good. That's the one that's going to take the fall. So.
Yeah. Have you been to that tournament before?
I've been there. I've been privileged to be there 3 of the last 4 years.
So it's pretty good talent. I mean, I know it's good talent, but like what we can expect.
Let's put it this way. They are among the tournaments that dropped the 32 after COVID, and they like the 32 because it's 32 really good teams. Woodlands is going to be there, and of course the talent that NISD brings will be there too. So yeah, this is like a mini Volleypalooza. So this will be a great challenge for your girls.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I really like the fact that I didn't do this on purpose. They had already had the Fraulein Fest. Is that what it is?
Fraulein, yeah.
They had already had that plan before I got to Ridge Point my first year, so we were going there, which was great. And then Volleypalooza was just something just something new I wanted to try. And then now this year we're going to the NISD one, and it's funny because every year for summer camp, team camp, I do something different on purpose. Like we went to Skyline, we went to HJV, I brought in TAV. This year I'm bringing in the Rice coaches because I like to give the girls a new look.
Right.
And, that whole thing where coaches may be saying the same thing, but they say it in a different way, that whole thing. And some girls just react better to some other coaches. So I try and mix it up for team camp, but now I'm like, wait, I've been mixing it up for preseason tournaments too. And I didn't even do it on purpose. So I'm super excited to see, how different districts and different teams and areas run these different tournaments. So I'm definitely excited to go to the Dallas area and just see what we can do.
Yep. We welcome you with open arms. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
Bring the dogs.
Well, no, that's also mommy's time away from the kids and
okay, yeah.
Yeah, they'll stay. Dad will stay with them. I'll get to go with my other kids, and have a hotel to myself for
There you
the
go.
first time in 3 years. You know,
Oh,
whatever that's like.
too funny. Lauren Bailey, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Let's do it again.
Absolutely.